Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to this week's episode of Critically Casual. I'm your host, Srekcuf5, and joining me as always is DorkyDev. Say hi, Dev.
What up?
No, nothing much. I'm doing pretty. I just realized I'm in
What
the
up?
wrong spot.
Dog?
Yo, dog.
Dog? Dog's week, apparently.
Yeah. Not only is it Dogs Week, but there's a theme that I wasn't quite expecting, and we'll get there at some point because I'm negligent. But do you have anything you want to say or do before we start talking about these movies?
Nope.
All right, cool. So let's start talking about this week's movies, which I just called this week Animal Companions. It's Animal Companion Week because we're talking about Turner and Hooch.
Speaking of animal companions, hi there.
Oh, hi, Pip.
Welcome.
That little devil cat. He's just turned into a log into your hands, just like, oh, I'm here. Hi, Pip. So yeah, we're talking about so Turner and Hooch, then The Call of the Wild, and then we're gonna wrap everything up with the news and wrap up. Is there anything? Nope, not at all. We're getting in here. We're talking about Turner and Hooch. Dev, I want you to have the first word here.
Oh? Well, first off, we gotta do this. This movie came out in 1998 on the release day of July 28th.
You switched those numbers around a little bit.
What?
89.
Oh, 89. My bad, 1989. Don't go on the table right now.
You picked me up, then you put me down. God damn it!
It had a estimated budget of $13 million, opening U.S. of $12 million, which is pretty damn good. You make pretty much your entire budget back just U.S. opening alone.
Mm-hmm.
With worldwide gross. This only opened in the U.S. apparently, because the gross U.S. and the gross worldwide are the same, at $79,079,915.
The exact same amount?
Between gross U.S. and gross worldwide, so...
So this was
didn't
only
open
released
elsewhere.
in the U.S., yeah.
Yes.
Good to know. That's why not many people know about this movie.
It's a good film.
It's
still
not
enjoy
bad.
it.
Honestly, yeah. There are moments of this movie that I really enjoy. I forgot about young Tom Hanks in his underwear. There's a lot of weird shots with that I wasn't expecting. But otherwise, I thought it was really enjoyable. That cat was staring daggers at you for a second.
What?
Yeah, he's staring at you. But I thought it was really
The
enjoyable.
chat can't see him.
No, that's
Don't worry about moving him.
fine. But I thought overall the movie was pretty enjoyable and a lot of fun to watch. But I also was sad. Like, there's some good emotional parts in this movie, and I wasn't entirely expecting that.
Have you not seen this?
It had been a long time.
Dude, this movie is still ingrained in my memory. Like, it is, as it played, I'm like, yeah, no, this is beat for beat what I exactly remembered, and that's why I love it. Like, There's nothing in this movie that I don't remember, and it's a short film, only at like an hour, 40 minutes. It doesn't, stick around too long. It gets through what it needs to do. This is before the era when everyone's like, it needs to be a 2-hour film.
Yeah. Before every movie was bloated for 2-hour runtime.
Yeah. Which, kind of hate it when they're all bloated for the 2-hour runtime.
But I thought this movie was fun. I just thought ultimately my big thing that I was partially disappointed was the ending. Like, and the reason behind that is it wasn't what I was expecting, honestly. It was really cute, but simultaneously I was expecting something more lighthearted because of the tone of the movie before that point. No, so
Eh,
mhm.
eh.
I'm trying really hard to dance around spoilers.
I noticed, but I'm just gonna say meh because I'm pretty sure my like the I've seen this movie probably closer to it's somewhere probably in between 10 to 20 times
Mhm.
as a child.
But
Probably closer to the 20 mark.
I think I've only saw this. I think this is my fourth time seeing this movie. The other three were when I was under 8 years old.
All the other times I've watched that would probably be between 1 to like 10 years old. So almost at least yearly I've seen this film as a child.
That's
Plus
not
a
bad.
sporadic a few here and there since then.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like even you may have complaints about the ending, but I think it works for the film. And you know what? I just have fun with it because it's young Tom Hanks. It's a dog that is his character's polar opposite, and you know what? It's a cop comedy movie without a second cop.
There's
Got
a
a second
second cop. Yeah.
But the comedy isn't about the second cop.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the dog who takes the buddy cop role. So you know,
The only thing that I thought during this movie was that our veterinarian friend was not a good vet, because I'm pretty sure there's more wrong with him than him just needing a couple of stitches. But whatever.
he's fine.
Hooch is fine. Turner's fine. They're both really strong people, animals. And it was a cute movie to watch. Definitely had a lot of more. Well, how do I explain this? Without burping into the microphone. I liked this movie, and I still do. I still do like this movie. It was fun, it was cute, it was enjoyable. I thought maybe the pacing could have been a little bit different, because it was sometimes a little slow, but still, it was a movie that I will definitely watch again sometime. I just was expecting something more joyous. And sure, it's fine that it's not the happiest of endings in the world, but it's still it tells a fine story. It's just I was expecting a little bit different, which I always am.
Steven, the world's not all sunshine and rainbows.
I know that.
So sometimes there's a down-to-earth, hard-hitting ending to something.
Yes. But that wasn't really led up to. It wasn't hinted at that anything like that was going to happen.
Sometimes that shit just happens.
Yes, it does. But still, this was a movie, and it
So?
happened.
So? Shit happens. Sorry. I've seen this movie enough times to be, A, I guess numb to it, but also B, that, like, shit happens is kind of my personality, so...
Yeah, who knows? Whatever will happen. God, I want to call you out on that, but I can't, because context is key. So, ultimately, there's not much that I have to say that I, did or didn't like other than what I've already said. To me, the best scene was watching Hooch run down the pier in slow motion.
Yeah?
That was by far the best part of the movie, because it was just super adorable and hilarious. Otherwise, I don't really have much else to talk about with this movie. It was just a cute little romp.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Cute little romp. It's fun. It's harmless. And I enjoyed it.
So, do you want your popcorn kernels now?
Sure. Well, what do you think of the cinematography, Steven?
There wasn't much to talk about, honestly. The best parts about it were there was a couple of scenes where, when we first get introduced to Hooch, it's really kind of tense and dramatic, which that was pretty fun and entertaining because of how it was shot cinematography-wise. And then there's a scene later on in the movie where it's kind of similarly done with like a. I can't really get into specifics, but there's just also another scene in the movie where the tone shifts just in how the movie is filmed, and it's kind of cool.
That's fair.
Yeah. Otherwise, the rest of it's just like nothing to write home about. The maybe another good take was the bathroom fight when he's trying to give him a bath, because that was all done in one take as he's wrestling back and forth with the dog.
Yeah, that's a good take. It's a very real take too.
Mm-hmm.
We've all been there.
I've always done the second option with my dogs.
Not always with us.
It's like they won't stay. They'll never stay. It's not worth making a mess. So, Dev, I'm going to give you your 10 popcorn kernels. How many will you give to Turner and Hooch? Well, mainly Hooch. He'll eat them all. But
I'll put it at a 7.5.
7.5.
Yes.
Nice. I can appreciate that. There's definitely a good score. I, myself, will give this movie a 7. It's fun. It's cute. It's fine. It'll do fine. There's not really much else to talk about. I mean, it's just an adorable little movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, can I put it down to a 6.5? Maybe there should be more to write home about. I'm just kidding. It's a 7.
Jesus. Fucking critics, man. So
Yeah, that's all I got on that movie. Let's talk about the new movie that came out just this year in 2020.
first movie we got to see that had 20th Century Studios on it.
That's true. That's very true. The Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. And
It was released the 21st of February, 2020, with a estimated budget of $135 million. Opening U.S. it made $24 million. Ooh, that is low.
yeah, it was one of the things that I saw early on not before we saw this movie, but like it came out, and then about a day or two later, I saw an article that was why this movie is gonna be another 20th Century Studios flop. I was like, what? And I mean, I didn't read it because I don't know why it said it was gonna be a flop, but it's kind of not doing well, and
It's kind of surprising. It's not a bad film.
it is not a bad film at all. However, it is definitely a sad film. Like, that's not something I'm worried about spoiling. This is, I would 100% consider this movie an emotional and sad movie, and I personally didn't know that was coming because I had not read the book before. Even though I know you said a lot of people did, I did not.
I read it in 5th grade.
Yeah, I did not read this book. I'm good at taking tests and not at reading. So, if I had to, I probably skipped it.
For me, in 5th grade, it was like classroom reading that we did as a class. Which I always hated those because, like, I had a tendency, if I was reading, I'd started skimming forward.
And then get lost because you didn't know where they were, far behind you.
Yeah. Like, Dev, where are we at? Hold on, let me backtrack.
Yeah.
Because some people do not read at the level that they should be. Not because it's entirely their fault, but because, sometimes our education system isn't the greatest. But this does make it harder for you to sit there and enjoy a book when someone else is reading at a way slower pace than what you can.
Oh, I remember there was once I was sitting there in our band room in high school, and I was reading a book, and we were playing one of the songs that we were marching to that year on the radio or on the speakers, and I was just reading, and then I found myself force of habit reading one word per beat of the tempo. And it got really annoying when we got to the slow song. I was just like, one word at a time. Eh, ah! Get
Was
off.
it Pirates or Spartacus?
Spartacus.
Pirates
Yeah, that was.
didn't really have a slow song, but it had a slower song.
Yeah. There was. I mean, why do you think we play Pirates now? I mean, on our independent Twitch channels on blank, blank, blankety, blank, blank, blank. Okay.
They don't work, Steven, it's below us.
But back on track here.
So you want to know the one thing I'm not a huge fan of? I'm not a huge fan of CGI Dog, even though CGI Dog was able to like make a lot of emotion with CGI Dog.
Mm-hmm.
That felt dog-like.
It was.
It's just it was a CGI dog the entire time.
Yeah, I was wondering that same thing because I sat there and it was cute and emotive. It felt like it was in the scene at times, but at others you could easily tell it was just a CGI dog. I think it was because the contrast on him was like he was a little brighter than everything else, so he stood out a little bit more, and it was like, well, he's clearly not there. And there were other dogs in this movie that were also CGI dogs, but they just didn't stand out as much as Buck was.
Because
his name,
they were
right?
smaller. Yeah,
Yes.
Buck. Because they make him, he's supposed to be a big dog. But damn,
He's
he's a big dog. And the problem is he doesn't look like he looks like he should be a big dog breed, but he doesn't look like a big dog. That's how I'll put it. He looks like he would be like a medium to large breed.
Yeah.
Like if he was a normal dog. But this dog ate good apparently. Because like
He was spoiled.
that dog sat here, standing height.
But
Roughly,
every other
right?
time you see him, it's just like, huh, he looks like...
He would be up to close to my hip, if not at my hip level.
Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely.
But he doesn't look like, at least in my brain, how I envision those kind of dogs. You know?
You picture like a... Like, I get what you mean. Because based on how they animate things, like the furniture and things rattling as he's running, it's like, that's a big dog. But then when you see him, it's just like, he seems kind of stocky. Almost.
Yeah. Well, he also doesn't seem like he has that much weight on him.
Because he's not
To
really
shake
there.
a house. Well, that and he's not built like a dog that would shake a house. Like he's big, but he's not. I don't know. I don't know. Big dog breeds. Hold on. Gotta do this.
Like, I both understand what you're talking about. Because he kind of reminds me of my dog, Scrappy. Who, Scrappy was an 80-pound dog when at his fattest. And Scrappy was a medium-sized dog. He was a fat dog for sure, but he definitely couldn't rumble a house like this dog can. I would think like a bull mastiff or a Saint
Yeah, but
Bernard.
the problem is he's neither of those.
Yeah.
Like, I'm scrolling through big dog breeds, and it's just like there's not really one that fits him, like how they designed him.
Is he a Doberman? Is he a sheepdog?
I mean, he kind of looks like he might be like sheepdog-esque, but like again, he looks like he's got like lab as well, and or retriever in him. He looks like he's got retriever because he's got longer hair. But the like coloration pattern looks like beagle or English pointer ish.
Mm-hmm.
But he's as big as a goddamn like he's big as or bigger than a bull mastiff. My aunt and uncle had a bull mastiff, dude. That thing was giant.
I want one of those dogs. If I could ever afford one.
They're not small dogs, though.
No.
But Buck made me think, in my brain at least, that bull mastiffs aren't that big.
So it's like in the poster when we see him standing right next to Harrison Ford, he stands as tall as his chest. So I doubt that's to scale, but still.
Yeah, no, I think that's part of the problem I had with the film. For me,
My
was the dog a little bit.
my problem with the film honestly has to do a bit with the storytelling of the movie. Because I didn't know the way this movie was going to end. I didn't know what they were trying to do with how they were telling the story. I at one point thought that like 30 minutes in I was like, "Oh, this is where I would actually have started the movie if it was supposed to be about this." But it ended up being about this other thing, and it well, like it was fine. It was a good movie, but it then had me wondering like is there any other way they could have explained it better? Like because part of the problems I have are like the passage of time in this movie are sometimes weird, um, or like the things that happen seem odd. Like we're gonna at one point they leave their camp, and it seems to me like they've been gone from that camp for a while, like probably I'll say at least 2-3 days maybe. But for some reason everything
What?
is he just yelling at you?
Yes. Jesus.
Yeah. But for some reason, there's a map on the floor still from when he was talking to Buck while sitting on the floor. And I was like, I feel like he would have packed that with him or something, or at least moved it rather than just leaving it there in that one specific spot. And that's just one specific nitpick I have. But just overall through the entire movie, it jumps from one event to the next event to the next event. And it's emotional, but I was kind of like, did we need to know this first part if it's supposed to be about this other thing? And then it was not about this other thing. But then it was still like we could have thinned some of those parts, like beginning parts down, for sure.
They're in the book.
Yeah. I know.
So
I heard. I talked to people who read the book and have seen the movie as well before this, and they were like, it made sense to me. And I was like, I bet it does make sense. Like, this isn't a bad movie. A lot of the things make sense. It's just that I guess my wish for the pacing of events is a little bit off. Because we're kind of loaded with a lot of sadness faster than we're loaded up with the happy parts, I guess. Which that doesn't make it a bad movie by any means. That's not what I'm trying to portray, if that's what you're thinking I'm saying here.
No.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. What, you think Empire's too sad now too, huh?
Absolutely.
And Infinity War, huh?
Mm-hmm. Actually, no. If you remember, that didn't matter. None of those deaths mattered.
Bullshit! You piece of shit! Don't even start on that again. We went over it. I told you, the deaths will matter. Guess what? They mattered. Because there was a passage of time that they didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that had affected the world. I
was just making a joke about the show. About my reaction to when I saw Infinity War.
I know. I kept telling you. But you're always so goddamn harsh on superhero movies, being like, they're just gonna make it all go back to normal. They'll get the time stone or something, and they'll just whoosh it better. And I'm like, no, they won't, because they're smarter than that, because of pricks like you about this shit.
They still kind of whooshed it better. I'm messing with you. I hope you realize this.
Ah!
Careful, you're gonna get another toothpick stuck in your hand and leg.
Anyways.
So.
No, my thing about this one is that, like, you can't really get rid of those, because if you do, then you don't. Then what was the point of adapting the book? I honestly felt some of those parts were too short.
The parts that I feel like I could have done more with, like, I could have done more with the team. That's for sure. I would have loved more of that conversation. I would have loved more of the guy after the team, that as well. But because of what we saw, I would almost prefer him not even be there. But I know what happened, so we kind of have to have him there. So we just need more of his story, and then we need. God, there's a lot that I could talk about with this movie. Like, to me, the adaptation makes sense. They took the things from the book and they put it into the movie, and it definitely tells an emotionally charged and impactful story. It's just that they chopped up too much from the book, and it makes it feel like these scenes happen either too quickly or, well, mainly they just happen too quickly, unless that they don't last long enough. Even though that's the same complaint.
Well, there's a whole lot from the beginning that they cut.
Like, yeah,
you see a little bit of the home life, and then you see a little bit of what happened on the train that's not there.
Like, I could have done with less. I could have both dealt with less time on the train because of how little it means to us overall in the grand scheme of the movie. But I could have also done with a lot more time on the train, being as it's supposed to be like his diving point into the unknown, really. And we don't get that in this movie.
No. But,
We just get to see a lot of, like... It's weird because we get to kind of see emotional things happen with Buck. But at the same time, we also don't really get to experience that emotion. How do I explain this? I guess the easiest way to say it is just it goes by too quickly. But it's just the way it is portrayed to us. It kind of just feels like Buck doesn't get to loom in what's happening. Or it's just from one thing to the next. And that's my problem. The pacing. I'm just kind of reiterating the same thing I feel like now.
Fair. I'll say it's very true enough to the story that, like, it's... I feel like if you cut out a lot more, it wouldn't... You lose some of the stuff that needs to be in it.
Like, how long is this movie again?
Hour and 40 minutes.
So we could have made this one a 2-hour-long film, and I think I would have been fine with it. Because they had more relationships that they could have built, and because I thought this movie was going to be a story about the relationship between Harrison Ford and his dog. That's not what this movie is about.
No, your expectation was completely wrong going into this.
Yeah. So, like, I thought I was going to see something like Homeward Bound, where at the end it's a happy story.
No, I mean, it's a happy ending, sort of.
It's a sort of happy ending. Very sort of happy ending.
It's actually happy ending.
Yeah.
You gotta look at it from that.
Yeah, because the main story of this is essentially a coming-of-age story for this dog. It's more than that. Of the Wild story.
Wild?
Calling of the Wild story. A coming of age, a calling of the wild story.
And into the unknown.
Into the unknown.
Stop.
So, so it ended up being something different than I expected. So you needed those events to happen, but because my initial thought was that it was going to be the story about Harrison Ford and his dog, I thought those beginning stories were too short and stuff. But then once I learned that it was about Buck and his journey to becoming a wild animal, I then thought all those checkpoints weren't enough. You know, like the longest part of the story that we got was the relationship between Harrison Ford and Buck, and while cool, that's I guess what the selling point of this movie is. It's Harrison Ford reacting and acting with something that's not there, and proving how great of an actor he is.
He did a great job with this one, because I genuinely... It wasn't the... Because there's two forms of Harrison Ford that you get in movies. There's the Harrison Ford, I don't care, and then there's the Harrison Ford that he actually gives a damn.
And he was...
This one I felt like he gave a damn.
Yeah.
Like... Which is weird, because he's acting against really nothing that's there. But he's really... Like... He's overly charismatically, like, good in this movie.
Like
for what the role is.
Yeah, he fits the role very well. And part of me wonders, is it because it's an easy role for an old, bitter man to play? I say Harrison Ford's a bitter old man.
He's gonna deck you on.
If I ever meet him in person and he ever hears this podcast, probably.
Oh, did you catch the Karen Gillian cameo?
Yes. That caught me off guard. I was like, why is
she
in this movie?
Played Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxies 1 and Volume 2, and also Infinity War and Endgame.
Mm-hmm. That's right. She was in a lot of things.
And also in Jumanji, and for Yehovians.
That's where I met her.
Yeah, that's where a lot of us met her.
Excuse me. Sorry.
He was, it's been a while since I've seen any Matt Smith era. What was your character's name?
Amelia Pond.
Thank you, Amelia.
And then there was River Song.
And, Rory Williams.
Absolutely. So, back onto this movie, though.
Yeah, again, like, I think my biggest problem is just kind of CGI-wise. Like, for me, it felt a little, like, not necessarily inconsistent, but I think it was far enough out of Uncanny Valley that I can enjoy the film, but it was close enough that, like, my brain was like, this doesn't add up. This dog's makeup doesn't make sense to me. Something's wrong. So, that's how I'll put it.
What breed of dog is Scooby-Doo? Saint Bernard?
No.
No, wait, not that's no. Can't remember. I guess that is why I asked.
What breed is Scooby-Doo? Oh, he is a Great Dane.
Great Dane. Okay. Yeah, you should. That's what this dog should have been. So, want to get into spoilers?
You want to give it a rating first with your popcorn?
Alright, my popcorn. I am going to give this movie... I will give this movie an actual 7.
Did you give the last one a 7?
Fine, I'll give this one a 7.5.
Wait.
Yes. I'm kidding. Yes, this is a 7.5.
Okay. I'm actually going to give it a 7.
Okay.
I enjoy Turner Hooch more, so... like, and after conversation, like, I think that's solidified for me, so...
Okay. I gotcha. So, spoiler time.
Let's get ready to spoiler!
So, death is a theme for this week.
Yes, there's lots of death in both of these movies. I forgot that Hooch died in the last one. Spoilers for Turner and Hooch. They're in spoiler section, so it doesn't matter. But, and then I learned that everybody fucking dies in this one.
Not everybody, just John.
Yeah, just the main human that Hooch loved after he was kidnapped.
uh, Duke, Buck, Buck,
Buck,
Buck.
the main human that Buck loved after he was kidnapped.
Yeah.
Other than the mail carrier dude, which I was upset only because
Paritz and Francisa.
yeah, something like that, played by Omar Sy and Kargi.
Those two are great.
Yeah, they were great on screen. I love the way they were reacting. I just like Kargi is also, I'm pretty sure, in The Expanse, and I loved her role in that movie or in
Yes,
that
she
show.
is in The Expanse.
So like they picked some good actors for this. They had a lot of good like these aren't like very popular actors by any means, but they are good actors that they have thrown in here. But
Well, Omar played Hot Rod in Transformers last night and was Bishop from Days of Future Past, if you remember that one. And he's also reportedly returning to his role of Barry from Jurassic World. It's Jurassic World 3.
he survived.
The other raptor trainer.
Mm-hmm. Like he's
So.
been in big movies. It's just not a big name actor. Like I'm pretty sure before we pulled up IMDb, if I was like, "You ever heard of Omar Sy?" You'd be like, "No."
I'd have to see his face, and then I'd be like, yes. You know me, I'm not great with names. You know who I was extremely happy to see in this film, and I'm always happy to see him? Bradley Whitford.
Oh yes.
As soon as I saw his face on the screen, I was like, Bradley Whitford, always a pleasure. Glad you're here. And then he was here for 5 fucking minutes, then it was gone. I'm like, God damn it, I want more of him.
But hey, at least he voted for Obama, right? At least he would have if he had another term.
I just want to see a mermaid, man. We do need to do that film at some point.
Yeah, probably.
We gotta do Cabin in the Woods at some point with how much I've talked about it. He's in Cabin in the Woods.
Haven't we already done Cabin in the Woods?
No. Did we not?
I'm pretty sure we already have.
How long ago was this? That had to have been year 1 then.
If
I'm forgetting it.
Yeah, let me double check now. I'm gonna check all the movie posters that I have because this is every single movie that we've seen, and it is here. Yes, we saw Cabin in the Woods.
When?
We saw that. I'm trying to remember what movie it was that we watched it with. It's gonna take me a while to try and find it, to be honest with you.
God, that was a while ago. It had to have been if I'm forgetting it.
If ever we watch Cabin in the Woods. It's
Wow.
gonna take a moment for it to load for me here.
When did we watch it?
Really should, like I said, I really should label these better. Be easier to find things.
Just do how I'm labeling the rating stuff. Just week and then movie. Probably what movie was released that week.
Yeah, like I just have the dates of each and every movie. So it's like this movie, or like
Or
I have the dates of every
abbreviations
show.
of each movie that we do. So like, you know, if we did, so 210 should be like MOS and BOP. ATFEOOHQ. I'm not gonna change that as like a remembrance that was the title of that film
Like
when we saw it.
I don't remember what I called any of these, but as these files always just save as what date it was that these were recorded on. So
Yeah, Bradley Whitford was in it for a short bit. And then Dan Stevens was in it for a little bit, which he's been in a movie that I haven't watched that this show has done. It's one of the few times that ever happened. Beauty and the Beast.
I remember Beauty and the Beast. It wasn't that bad, honestly. I mean, it was boring.
I think it's probably just such a bad, like such a
It's pretty
note for
much a
note
one.
rematch,
Yeah, it's a one for one,
which
basically.
is one of my problems with a lot. Like that's my biggest gripe. I start to praise these movies when they start to change little things. I'm like, oh hey, that's a little change. I like it. I give it a little bit more character development. Oh, I like that.
Hey, they finally actually did something original. I kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah. Um, and then that one was one of those ones that I saw the trailer for. I'm like, okay, so this is what they're doing.
What? I just realized that I'm looking through. We did Elektra with Captain Marvel. We're smart sometimes. Like, I know it was Lady quote unquote heroes that week, but Elektra.
Yeah, we ran out of fucking. We
We
didn't want
ran out
to
of
burn.
movies.
We didn't want to burn every goddamn superhero movie available to us. We still got a ton left, you know. We still don't want to waste like our Daredevils and stuff yet.
I guess we don't.
But no, like this movie. If you read the book, you'll probably like it more. I mean, it does cut some stuff, but it's just so it's not like an ungodly long movie.
Um, Part of me really wanted during this section to mess with you, and I know the perfect way I could have done it, but I decided against it.
Which is
Did you see that one brown and that one white baby? And how they clearly weren't a mixed match of of the colors.
I would have fight. I would have fought you.
I know. I wanted to so bad. It would have been fun, but I couldn't figure out a way to transition us into that other than being like, so let's talk about Harrison Ford and him dying. But
I mean, you're right on Turner and Hooch, by the way, because they either look like the mother or look like the father,
yeah,
which is not how that works.
I mean, Hooch is just one of a kind. He's the only one in his batch that looks like that too. The puppies.
That is not how that works at all. You know, which I think that's the only thing as an adult now. That's the only complaint I have about that movie going forward. Still love the movie, but I don't know. There's not really much to talk about other than just like the CGI is just like I think my biggest gripe because it's just like it's consistent, but like it never feels quite right to me. But they do it in a way that it feels like it's there. So it's not really like it's something that I can't really like get on them about. It's just for me, it didn't feel right. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird. It's not a problem I normally have with CGI, I guess, because it's consistent. And that's like my biggest thing is making sure that your CGI is consistent through the film.
Didn't really feel like he actually existed this time.
But at the same time, it did. Like I don't know why it bothers me because like they like at least from an acting standpoint, everyone acted like he was there and it felt like he was there. But at the same time, it didn't. I don't know, dude. It's complicated. I think it's just it hits that uncanny valley for me, and I think that's the only thing to explain it.
Like it's just real enough to be like not like it fits in fine enough. Like because I thought the same thing. Like would I have preferred if this movie was a little more Lion King with the animal being more realistic? And honestly, I think I would have said no.
Oh no! I'd rather I prefer to have some like animation to it.
Yeah, because at least this way he portrays his emotions and feelings and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But if
we had the goddamn like no yeah bullshit, which again that was one of our I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back to the Lion King. Let's stop. Let's stop. Was one of my problems with that film, obviously. So you know, I would not want that for this movie. It's kind of weird because like 20th Century just kind of has had a real shit luck lately with its box office. A lot of it's its own fault, but even this one, like,
I mean, this is the time of the year where all the flop movies come out normally. Like, January and February are just after all the award ceremonies. These are budget films that the studios think that movies like these movies aren't going to do that well. And so far the only change to that has been Sonic. And Sonic's only that way because it's a kids movie. Oh. Oh. You want to know what movie we did with Cabin in the Woods?
what?
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh my god, now I remember that. My god, yeah, that's what we did that week. Because it was the secret doors and shit. That's right. That was our connecting thread. Why was that such a lame connecting thread?
I don't know. And that was October 30th of 2018.
Okay, thank God it was 2018, still in the first year. Most of our bad themes were in the first year. All right. As long as we kept that consistent, at least since then our themes have been a little bit better.
I don't remember why we chose. It was
Because
funny.
the trailer had the scene where you could see into the room.
That's right.
And where's the camera? So, like, there was, like... I was like, wow, it kind of reminds me. This might be like Cabin in the Woods with like someone controlling all the horrible things happening in the. We also thought it was going to be more horror-esque than what it was too.
That's true, but it wasn't a bad movie.
No, it was a really enjoyable film.
Mm-hmm.
Just not what we expected.
Okay. But also going back to this movie, if I were to summarize this movie, it's dog gets taken away. He then gets put on a dog team. He becomes the pack alpha and chases off another dog. He then gets sold.
He didn't really chase off the dog.
It left on its own accord, but that still left me heartbroken. I was like, why are you leaving? You could just be for one line back. You don't have to leave, Pupper, and freeze in the winter. But it left anyways, because it had to be emotional. But
That's what happened in the book.
Yeah, I know. Like, it was a different kind of emotion because it was like Buck proving that he could be the pack alpha. He's a strong wild dog after all. And he's not just a spoiled mutt. But at the same time, I wanted all the dogs to be together. You didn't have to leave. And then dog left, they get sold, they get bought by rich guy. Rich guy essentially almost kills them until Harrison Ford saves Buck. Buck and Harrison Ford go on this journey where they find the a legendary cabin with a river filled with gold, which that's fun. Crazy rich guy comes back and shoots and kills Harrison Ford, and then Buck is a wild animal
And lives with the pack.
Mm-hmm.
And creates huskies.
Husky puppies.
Pretty much. Honestly, you want to know the one thing this movie made me want to do? Play Red Dead.
I thought about that too. I bought Red Dead and I still haven't played the story mode. I need to do that sometime.
This just makes me want to dick around in that game, man. Like, no joke. Which kind of sucks for me, because that would mean if I wanted to do it on my PC, going online or, like, having to start up the main campaign again. I'm like, I don't want to go through the snow missions again. They're so long.
The very first mod released for Red Dead was to get past the snow missions. Did you know that?
Yeah, I don't mess with mods because that's how I break things.
That's how your computer gets filled with viruses, and then your hard drives fracture and split in two.
Like, honestly, there's not much to say about this movie. If you like dogs, you'll like it.
You'll like it and also be sad because there's a lot of animal violence. Like animal on animal, person hitting animal, person threatening animal.
Then animal rises up, starts a revolution.
If the revolution is caused by his owner being killed.
Freedom for the doggos!
Like, and that was the part that got me too. It's right at the very end when it says, "And every summer when Buck comes down to the valley, he remembers his old dead owner." The end. It's like, that's not a happy way to end the movie. At least give
it's
us.
Not a sad remembrance. It's
No. It's remembering what he went through to get there. But, God, could have ended on any other way. Like, he didn't have to remind us that Harrison Ford had just died.
It is what it is. What a weird February it's been.
That's true. At least this has been, like, today, at least these movies weren't bad. Like, I was hoping, because these were animal-related movies, they'd at least be happy films. Like, I didn't want an action movie, but I was hoping for more happy. What we got is not bad. I'm not disappointed either. We need more happy in the future. We just need something that'll actually allow me to shut my brain off.
That's gonna be a few weeks away.
I know. I know.
Do we want to just jump into news and talk about next month since we're there?
Sure, why not?
Cool.
It's news time. You're trying, and I appreciate you.
So, on to the news. Next month, since we've wrapped up February, we always go over what we're doing next month when we do that. I have the list here. Whoops, wrong way to do that. So, we're starting off next week, our show on 3/2/2020. We are doing The Mummy, 2017 release, and The Invisible Man, because apparently they're still going to try to do the fucking Dark Universe. I'll tell you how bad that is.
I would be more impressed with The Invisible Man. Like, just talking about that real fast. Because I was impressed because I had just recently heard out about Paradise Island is getting a remake. Or Fantasy Island, sorry. It's supposed to be where your greatest dreams come back to life. And then
that's out.
Yeah, and then it's a horror film and how it's been changed. I think that's a really interesting concept. How it was originally about something good and then they've changed it to a horror. I think it'd be interesting if they changed The Invisible Man into something interesting, but we know it's going to be the Dark Universe, so it's probably not going to be interesting.
It's just going to be horror. It's going to be... I've seen like one trailer and all the ads on Twitter like pop up, and it really annoys me because they show way too much on those. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but when we go over, I'll talk about what I've seen already.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Like, but we don't need to spoil it for everybody else. Just don't watch the trailer.
Fair. Yeah, if you see it anymore, just like ask Twitter to get rid of that promotion as well, because like it's gonna ruin shit for you. So that's what we're doing the first week. And then it's the first week of what will be the first ranking. We got two starts of lists this month.
I know, we're going crazy.
We have the start of our Fast and Furious list when we review 3 Fast and Furious movies, because we're going to do 3, 3, and 3. We've already done Hobbs and Shaw, which we can just kind of throw wherever we feel it fits in after we go over the first 3. Because we're doing The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Too Fast for y'all. And then The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift.
Just gotta go fast, man.
March 9th show. That's gonna be fun. And then we start our and we've already watched one of them, but this is where we officially start the list for the Daniel Craig Bond series, because we're doing Quantum of Solace and Skyfall. Guess what? We're not going to the theater for 2 weeks. It'll be nice. We can just be at home.
And all of you guys can be critics with us and have a full active discussion in the chat.
And then we got Don't Breathe and The Quiet Place Part 2.
That one, I was kind of surprised in retrospect how much of a similarity these two concepts of movies kind of have. They're different, but they're the same, and it's weird.
And then we're doing Disney live action week. We found another.
We found our last pairing. Hopefully. Maybe.
Unless there was another one that we missed, which I need to look into, but I hope it's not.
Did we
In which
possibly
case,
miss
we have another one. Yeah, I told you about what might be another. We need to figure out if it is another though.
That's a good point.
We never officially looked into it because we found this instead. We're gonna do Lady and the Tramp and Mulan to wrap up the month of March. It's a 5-movie week.
I was just thinking that. I was like, March has 5 weeks. That's nice.
Yeah, dude.
That's an extra paycheck.
Yeah, dude. So yeah, we'll have 2 more lists started at the end of that by the end of the month. Who knows? Depending on if the Dark Universe survives Invisible Man, we'll have a 3rd. Technically started in that month. We won't make the list. We might rank which one we think is higher than the other. Just based off a score, and that will be where we go back to pick that up.
What are all the Dark Universe movies again? There's The Mummy, there's The Invisible Man, there's...
Potentially, they were setting up Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in The Mummy with Russell Crowe's character.
There was
others. Frankenstein, Helsing. It's all of the old classic horror movies. The Thing from the Blue Lagoon, or The Creature from the Blue Lagoon. Shit like that. Like, think your campy, old school horror movies. Dracula.
Like, I figured they had already released other movies that had been...
No, this is it. Remember, after The Mummy, it killed the universe for a little bit, and then Universal's like, but what if we try it again with The Invisible Man? So...
Yeah, I was remembering something else, because I felt like there was something, then there was The Mummy, and then there was The Invisible Man.
No, it started there.
Okay. So, yep, there's that at least. So that's our next month's plans. I'm both looking forward to it and not at the same time. Like, next week I'm not looking forward to.
Oh, God, I wonder how low The Mummy is potentially going to be the lowest rated movie that we've seen this year. Because you want to know the lowest rating we've given a film is just a 5 as an average for Dr. Dolittle, and a 5.5 for Dolittle.
I can't wait to watch a movie about the Mummy, learning about everybody else except the Mummy, and then figuring out what the Mummy did.
Hey, listen, it worked when it was Brendan Fraser, and I'm not blaming Tom Cruise for this. I've avoided this movie until now.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All this.
For God, if we get this year's Death Note with this. There's always one. There's always one early in the year. I can't remember what it was last year, but I remember having like a movie that I'm like, this is bad. This is just bad, and I started ranting.
Was it the Emoji Movie?
That was a different kind of bad. That one killed me inside.
Okay. Well, I have one piece of news real fast.
Alrighty.
And it's meh news. It's Paramount Pictures halts production on Mission Impossible 7 in Italy due to coronavirus outbreak. So yeah, I'm not going to be the one person to be like, oh no, this virus is ruining the movie franchise or industry. What I'm going to say is it sucks that people are dying and getting sick from this, and it's causing ripples everywhere. Like... No,
yeah, it's affecting multiple industries right now.
Yeah.
And this and a lot of other stuff. That's why Sony isn't going to be at PAX East, which kind of sucks. I know a lot of people that I follow went like, we're going to PAX East to try out Left 4 Dead 2, or The Last of Us 2. And then Sony pulled out and they're like, I don't know if I want to go anymore. And I'm like, damn.
So, but yeah. You brought up Tom Cruise, and I thought I'd talk about Mission Impossible. So yeah, it was being planned to be released, and it is being planned to be released in July 2021, but it's might have some problems because sickness is happening and people need to take care of themselves. So makes sense. It's kind of sad, but you you got to do what you got to do, I guess, sometimes to make sure people don't get hurt and we don't lose action heroes or people who operate cameras very well or sometimes directors. They matter sometimes, right?
Yes, even sometimes they matter.
You know what was kind of funny? In college, when I was taking my classes.
The group kind of funny, sorry.
Exactly. When I was taking my classes, there'd be many times when the teachers would be like, "All right, who wants to be a director?" People would raise their hands. "Who wants to be a producer?" People would raise their hands, and then they'd never ask the question for me, which was just, "I want to be a cinematographer," and that's all this is reminding me of. Also, discussions about the old school movies and how actors I watched a video today where they discuss the golden age of cinema rotating out because the US was like, hey, we're passing laws to make it so studios don't own every part of the movie, like the actor itself. And then that led to the director being the star of the movie making industry, and that was during like the 1970s. So that's a fun little tidbit for anybody who's still here.
Fair enough.
Went on this random tirade.
It was very random.
Yep. It just.
Are you ready? Are you ready to give out our second 10 of the year?
Where do you think our second 10 of the year is going?
Too fast, too furious, too fast for y'all. No, it's not going there. I'm just joking.
It's obviously going to Tokyo Drift.
Out of the 3? No.
So, yeah, that's our plans for next month. That was my news. There wasn't really much else that I really cared about talking about this week, honestly.
Short show.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Yeah.
So
after some longer discussion weeks.
It's okay. We needed a nice little enjoyable week that was sad. And on that note, I've got nothing else.
I'm curious what if The Mummy or Invisible Man are going to be the lowest ranking movies of this year. Potentially Too Fast, Too Furious might go down there. I don't remember it extremely well. It's been a little bit since I watched it, but
was that the movie where, or am I getting it legitimately confused for Need for Speed, the movie, where they race for pink slips and the guy uses his NOS too soon and he loses his car because of it?
That's the first. There's a lot of racing for pink slips in this series. I'm sorry. You've got to be more.
They're racing on a dry lake bed, I think, or something.
Don't think so. That might be. No.
I don't remember.
I didn't watch Need for Speed. Not gonna lie.
I know Need for Speed had motorcycles, so I don't know. I need a refresher. This is what that's going to be. It's going to be a refresher. Check everything out. Follow us on the stuff, and have a good night. I guess.
Things. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. It's going to bed now.
Goodbye. Probably a good idea.